Partnered by Times Influence.
Building a better connected world requires breaking certain boundaries. And the India Broader Way Forum 2017 is an initiative presented by Huawei in association with the Times Network with exactly that objective in mind. As we all eye a digital India with optimism, we must also ask ourselves, what will make that digital transformation a reality?
India is geared up for a digital revolution, and Huawei, in association with the Times Network, hosted the India Broader Way Forum 2017 to support Prime Minister Modi's Digital India vision. The event was graced by Manoj Sinha, Honourable Minister of State, Independent Charge for Communication and Minister of State for Railways, Government of India.
Today, the digital medium is as powerful a medium as print, radio, or television, if not more. Digital transformation also applies to our government's core philosophy that the last man in the queue should get equal benefit as those in the front. I am happy to see Huawei, a global ICT player, has taken this initiative to discuss the importance of a digitally empowering society and technology, which can be a real enabler in achieving this vision.
The forum also saw a host of sessions where key stakeholders from the government and the corporate world deliberated and highlighted the challenges and opportunities facing India's digital dream and the role of cloud computing.
What will make us an attractive destination, not just for ourselves, but for the global cloud computing to come to India?
Policy framework has to be nimble. Policy framework has got to be attractive so as to attract the players. Therefore, what is important is that our policy should also, like interoperability, our policy should also be very, very broad.
Mr. Kapadia, what are the challenges that you see in adoption of cloud?
Cloud as a service for telecom operators is a necessity as we move from the old era where we were one technology or two technology dependent to a heterogeneity of the market.
Jay, you're in the business of this mindset change that will be brought about. You want to add to the point that Mr. Kapadia made?
The first, talk about the technology, which is not a big issue in this market.
Right.
You know, in India, when we move the 4G and the 4.5G and the 5G, you know, technology really is not an issue. India already run faster and faster. 4G, well, okay. And the 5G, we believe from the Huawei, India market will be in line with the global. That's our focus. In this market, 5G, where exactly we are landed in India 2020.
But the security provisions have to be absolutely in black and white and no ambiguity. Have I got it right? And is that the only way going forward?
No, you're absolutely right. Because whether it is data privacy or data security, those are core principles, no matter what kind of technology we use, what kind of platforms we use. At the core, how much of an individual's data do you collect, why do you collect, when do you collect, how will you keep it safe? Similarly, how will you transmit it safely? All these, I think, are the core principles around which we are trying to frame the Government of India's policies.
Thank you very much, each one of you, for being here.
To further understand the importance of achieving digital transformation through an all-cloud network, Yatish Nagavalli of Huawei Technologies addressed the audience, giving insights into the futuristic technologies such as IoT, 5G, analytics and machine learning.
Information is now available at the speed of light. Anything that happens anywhere around the world, we are able to see and get that information almost instantaneously. So we have seen the type of impacts social media is having. There are instances where governments are getting replaced because of the mass movement the social media is able to create, like what we witnessed in some of the Middle Eastern and African countries. Now, with the advent of sensor technologies, now everything is getting sensed as well. And what we can understand what's happening in the production line almost instantaneously in our machines, what's happening in the business processes with our systems. And we can even have sensors that actually can sense if our plants need watering, so that we can take actions to water the plants. Using the all-cloud strategy, you're not going to be alone. There are initiatives that are globally accepted and taken by leading global operators like AT&T, Telefonica, etc. So it's truly an industry trend that everyone is getting along. In India, there are about 422 million connected users, and our population is about 1.3 billion. So there's a lot of opportunity to get everyone connected. There's also about 500 billion of IoT revenue that people are anticipating, the industry is anticipating over the next decade. There's a lot of opportunities, so is the challenges that we have to embark upon. And we cannot do it by any one person or any one company. It has to be driven by the industry, working with the operators, working with the entrepreneurs, different enterprises, partners, regulators, and the government to make a digital India a true reality. We have started with a smart city type of projects where we want to quickly move towards making the whole country a smart country and see the efficiency and productivity of every citizen and every resident skyrocket that will really propel India to be the superpower at the global level.
In its third edition, the India Broadway Forum 2017 saw participation from industry leaders and key stakeholders from the government. With digital transformation shaping India's future and setting an agenda across industries, the event brought together an esteemed panel of experts to share their views on uncovering the patterns of digital transformation, network cloudification in a hyper-connected world.
What I'm going to do today is that I'm going to explore the subject of cloud and how cloud is helping us become all digital and how digital is helping us become very, very efficient, effective, and yet very versatile, as Yatish talked about. Let me first start my first question saying that in your word, and I can kind of just maybe start with you, Angira, why don't you tell us what is digitization really mean and what are the possibilities? What all can you do in the real digital world as we keep talking about?
Digitalization itself is a phase that we've gone through, right? There used to be the early phase where we used to talk about moving data from being paper-based into bits and bytes, right? So that was one phase. I think today we are going through a phase where some of the processes are getting more digital, end-to-end. So I think the whole process of digitalization is on those lines. How do we transform as individuals, but more importantly as organizations, how do we transform to serve our employees better, to serve our customers better, and then architect processes around that. And it's a complex process. I think the biggest challenge that exists there is around people. How do people transform themselves in terms of thinking digitally? Right? So that's a quick bit on that.
Thank you, Angira, for giving us the opportunity to give us the whole range. Let me turn it to Vineet, because the proof of the pudding is always in eating. He's the guy who actually puts all the money in buying those technologies. So Vineet, tell us, is digitalization really helping your business, and what are the art of possible as you see it from your perspective?
So for us, it's critical that we provide the right customer service, the right customer satisfaction through any means possible. When I joined the business, it was making sure we call up the customer and give him that information. Then we evolved to sending him SMSs. Now we are ensuring that that customer is able to see everything literally through something what we call a glass pipeline. So we have to make it sure the system that we've designed, which is essentially use of mobile phones from the time of pickup to IoT devices like GPS, to everything, all the information being on the cloud, and ultimately to that extent that the customer is able to see the entire process like in a glass pipeline. So wherever that inventory is across the system, he can see that this is where it is. And he can track that not by my document number, but by his part number. And then, in fact, to that extent that as soon as the truck gets into the plant, we scan the barcode that is there, and it uploads all the manifests of the truck onto the company's ERP to know that these parts have arrived.
Thank you very much, Vineet. I'm now interested to hear from you, and maybe Angara, we can start again from you, is what do you think are some of the big challenges which we still need to overcome to make the digitalization a reality? Of course, a lot has happened, but what in your view would be some of the big challenges?
You know, by the thought process is that the biggest challenge is finding people who understand how to take the organization forward digitally from a technology perspective. Interestingly, the research indicated that the biggest challenge is not finding the right, let's say the chief digital officer, for example, but it's more in terms of getting people to adapt, right? So as human beings, we're very used to routines that we operate with. And whenever there is a change in, whenever there is digitalization that is implemented by an organization, there is a need to change the process. When some of the government offices were digitalized, a lot of employees were not very happy with it because their opportunity to operate outside the process got killed. And they themselves ensured that the digitalization process failed in those offices, right? And it's important, and this happens even in organizations, right? Where employees feel a little threatened. They feel that instead of so many people, lesser people will be required if there's a digitalization process, and they need to be onboarded to it. So they need to be onboarded, A, to the thought process of the organization, and B, they need to be onboarded to making those processes work end to end. So I think the biggest challenge right now is us being able to change our thought process. The second challenge comes in terms of what needs to be digitalized, right? So there are lots of things one can think of picking up and digitalizing, but starting small, making that work, seeing the impact, and then expanding it outwards to the broader processes within the organization is also something critical.
Thank you. I'll come to you, Yatish, for a very important thing on my mind is cybersecurity. Interested to hear your perspective on how this abundance of technology, being everything all cloud, always connected, on demand, how does that kind of, what do you look at cybersecurity in that context? Does it make you worry? Is it something which you think we've got all the answers? So what's your take on that?
I think we have made, as an industry, great strides in terms of addressing the security concerns. There was a period of time when people wouldn't move their critical systems to public cloud because of security concerns, and right, it's a public knowledge. And there are open platforms and security certifications that are out there that all the major cloud providers, including Huawei, we are all conforming to. So it's kind of addressing those types of concerns. I think public cloud today is a lot more secure than some of the on-premise deployments because of if you're having a security vulnerability, the people out there can come and get you. Security is something that you don't think about it as an afterthought, right? In all the infrastructure platforms and applications and systems, it is built into it from a design perspective in all the layers of the application, right? From the user interface all the way to the back end to the databases. And a lot of people, when you talk about the new trend of moving everything to the cloud, right? So you do come across several companies who are trying to push their existing systems onto the cloud And a majority of the times, it doesn't work that way because your existing systems are built for the architecture that supports the on-premise types of deployments. And by naturally, automatically, it is not going to work in a cloud environment. So you have to have that cloud-native architecture built into it with security addressed in every single layer of the application as a design and architecture, not as a afterthought fixing, something that you can drop as a fix and assume that everything is going to be fine. So I think we are a lot more secure today than what we have ever been. But then I will say that with the caution that it's a continuous exercise, and we keep watchful eyes and innovation happening on a daily basis.
Any reactions from the group on this subject? Because I keep hearing this quite a lot from all the users saying, yeah, we like it, but. So any responses to the but?
I started selling cloud way back in 2007, right? And I clearly agree with what he's saying, that the line has moved significantly from them. No longer, I would say for about 5 years now, no longer are the conversations around security. They are more around processes, and the point that you brought up, Piyush, about being able to migrate in and out of the cloud, right? I think those are questions that customers are asking, enterprises are asking, that if we move in, do we have the flexibility to move our data out, and how fast can we move that out? But I think security for now has been parked. Yes, periodically there are hacks that happen and they raise flags, but the fact is that as the levels of security are going higher and higher, the people are also working harder to see how they can break those systems. But I would completely agree with the fact that the levels of security available now are phenomenally higher than they were even a couple of years ago, forget a decade ago. Right.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Angira to the extent that a large part of the problem has been parked for now. But what the enterprises are bracing for right now in terms of security is a lot of enterprises, a lot of businesses are today looking at cryptography like blockchain, other technologies to look at transactions. Second, with people talking to machines, machines talking to machines, and all these being on the cloud on a multi-tenanted environment, it's not about private data, but also competitive business data that possibly could get, in the way of falling into the wrong hands. So I think the enterprises will have their sleep taken away as we move. But if you just look at what happened 15 years ago, they've survived through that. They'll survive. There'll be technologies that come in to secure that aspect. But all I'm saying is that as things, taper down to murmur, another new technology comes in which, shakes the industry up. And I think elements like blockchain, machine-to-machine communications are areas where we need to probably look at security a little more seriously right now so that we are prepared when it does come.
Thank you so much, Subhra.
Yeah. So, as per a research report I read, like 80% data theft issues have happened because of people in-house, like those people who are working with you. They are the ones who actually understand value of that data. So any of your cloud service provider or anyone else will not understand, but people in-house. So whether they are operating the data which is already running in-house in your own server farm or it is running on cloud, but if a person has access to that data and if his intentions are not good, then definitely you will have issues. Now cloud service providers have started offering options like bring your own encryption. Now, DDoS used to be a very big issue in the past. You have solution on that as well if you use cloud services. So Cloudflare, now most of those who have DDoS-related issues, who are targeted again and again, we have seen government websites, some of the organization websites also who get targeted again and again. They hide their identity behind Cloudflare. So that has helped people to get rid of DDoS issues. Encryption has helped people to protect encrypt their data. Now, applications cannot remain outdated, or operating systems cannot remain outdated on cloud. You have to keep on updating, or else like you'll get repeated notifications that this application will be shut down or this machine will be shut down. In the future, applications will become OS independent or server independent. It will not, you'll not need to bother on which server it is running, or on which VM it is running, or on which operating system it is running. It will all become independent. So security will keep on improving with the time, but there are people sitting who have like a team strength of thousands who are actually working on breaching that protection that you have created, that data protection you have. So things will keep on changing. We'll see a lot more threats coming in the future. We'll see advancement in dealing with those threats. So sometimes they will win, sometimes we will win. So this will keep on continuing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I truly enjoyed this interaction, and I could have possibly gone on even more. This was a great panel. So I think to me, digitalization is the time where you got all the devices, all the network, all the cloud, and your roads infrastructure. So I've got nothing but optimism, and I'm sure we will have a great future from here on. Thank you very much, and a round of applause for my panelists.
Partnered by Times Influence.